Today I'm going to be playing another Patreon deck. This one comes from Hellbach. So this is a Lucentbark druid. And this deck got some pretty decent tools in Scholomance Academy. The main one has to be Groundskeeper, just because it's such a good healing card, and it heals for the perfect amount to resurrect the Lucentbark. But we've got some smaller stuff as well. Lightning Bloom can make it easier to get down an early Lucentbark, or maybe it lets us copy a Lucentbark a couple turns early or something like that. Which is good, because being too slow is one of the drawbacks that Lucentbark Druid has had in the past. We've also got Nature Studies, which is just a pretty good card, and Speaker Gidra, which is also just a pretty good card. And Speaker Gidra has some synergy with things we want to be playing anyway. It's good with Germination. It's good with the overflows that we want to play for the Lucentbarks. So yeah, I think this deck got some pretty good new tools. Now, normally I like to play these Patreon decks as is when I get them. But I think I'm going to make a couple executive decisions on this one. So I have played Lucentbark decks in the past, and it's very sad when you don't draw Lucentbark. So I'm going to play Sphere of Sapience, and maybe more importantly Lorekeeper Polkelt, which always puts the Lucentbark on top of our deck. I think the weakest card in this list is probably Embiggen, and this is a card that Hellbach even called out as kind of sketchy. It is pretty good with the minions that make copies of themselves, but I think drawing Lucentbark more consistently is probably more important.
Elise versus Nemzi.
Let's have some fun!
Class is in session.
I do like Overgrowth. Do I keep Overflow with Overgrowth? Maybe. Probably don't need to keep it though. I guess I'm just supposed to ramp out Overgrowth. I don't actually know. Seems like people Lightning Bloom Overgrowth against me pretty often. You always love to see the Lucentbark. This leaves me with 3 mana next turn, so I can play Lifeweaver.
My remedies are all natural.
Bones of the fall.
Another Overgrowth, you say? I guess I can Nature Studies for free. Draw a card. Make some totems. Maybe I just like Healing Touch when I have Lucentbark in hand already.
I use Nelladar.
Take your medicine.
Looks like he's probably going to set me to 25, which means I can res a Lucentbark. Oh, Germination. That was probably the best card I could find here. Well, maybe technically Sphere of Sapience this turn and then Germination next turn. But yeah, Germination we take. What is this? Okay.
Refreshing.
I probably should have not hero powered here, actually. Although I guess I can always res my Lucentbarks by healing his face. So it's probably fine, I guess.
Yes, I will destroy them.
5/4 looks pretty pathetic in the face of my 4/8.
Bones of the fallen.
That's a very cute 4/1 you've made over there. Well, I think I'm always drawing a card here. Oh, Germination. Well, that's pretty good. Let's just go ahead and draw another card then.
A loose Melodon.
I was pretty happy to play Crystal Stag this turn, but playing another Lucentbark is probably the way to go. This can heal my opponent's face, right? Yeah.
I will act as your steel, Dragon Lord.
I don't actually have to heal my opponent's face. In hero power up to 29, hit here I go to 25. So let's go ahead and Wrath here.
A loose Melodon.
My hand is not great at this point, but I think he's going to have a hard time dealing with just this board. And if he does manage to deal with it, I still have quite a few heals I could draw into. Lorekeeper Polkelt is also still good because it guarantees an overflow on the following turn. And then I have things like Wrath and Rising Winds, which themselves aren't heals, but they let me draw into heals. Oh, 6 mana 8/8. That's pretty powerful. So I'm hitting him for 12. I would have to play both of these to kill this. Okay, that's fine. So unfortunately, Groundskeeper on its own is not going to be able to heal these, but I do have 2 overflows and 2 nature studies, or I only have 1 nature studies actually.
Yes, I will destroy them.
Pretty good heals. Now he just needs to kill 2 of my minions to not be dead this turn. Whoa, too many cards.
Impressive. You win this time.
Poor Warlock. Can't handle the wall.
Elise versus Rex.
Rexar.
Class is in session.
Not a single one of those is overgrowth. What the heck? This is an okay hand. Polkelt. Wow, that's a good draw as well. But yeah, Polkelt just tends to be good, but in this hand, it actually also lets me draw into Overflow, which activates Groundskeeper, which activates the Crystal Stag. So yeah, this could be pretty good. Healing Touch. I'm actually a little tempted to keep that against Hunter, but I probably shouldn't. Nature Studies. Looks like I can play that next turn. But if I play it here, I can play a 4-cost spell next turn. So what would that be? Swipe could be okay. Bite. Oh, I could play an Overgrowth if I happen to draw one of those, or make one of those. Yeah, I mean, it's probably better than making one armor here.
Sands of time run low.
It's never guardian animals because I already drew one of my crystal stags. I think Innervate looks pretty good here. Earlier Polkelt means earlier Groundskeeper, which means earlier Crystal Stag. Hell yeah, I want a Groundskeeper, what the heck? Is that even a question? I might just be playing a Groundskeeper this next turn without it healing anything. We'll see though. I guess there was also a world where I didn't Innervate here, so I could play the Lucentbark a turn earlier. But against Hunter, I think I just want to get on the board.
Nothing but a bunch of big bears!
I think I am just going to Hero Power here. I miss out on playing the Groundskeeper, but the Groundskeeper is like twice as good next turn anyway. And I get to deal with that Phase Stalker before it starts making obnoxious secrets. Does he Hero Power? He does Hero Power. My first Groundskeeper actually doesn't even activate the Crystal Stag. I definitely want an Overflow, right? Yeah, so my Crystal Stag's not quite active here. But that's probably fine. Groundskeeper itself is just really nutty here. And I think there's a good chance I take 1 damage this turn, so I can just Crystal Stag on 7 probably. Does he have Innervate? No Innervate. That's actually pretty annoying. So if I toss this, I either get a Crystal Stag or an Oasis Surger, leaning toward Oasis Surger. I guess I'm just always Hero Power Groundskeepering here, actually. But I don't want a second Overflow, so I don't know what I'm thinking about here. That Dragonbane is pretty freaking annoying. But I am at 35, basically. So I think it's kind of okay. Next turn is probably just Crystal Stag Hero Power to deal with it. And I should be in an okay enough position that that's just fine. I can Oasis Surger for +2/+2 and then Hero Power into something else, I guess. I don't see that being better. Surely you just start... Oh, I guess you want to Hero Power this. Sure, this makes sense. Because his health total doesn't matter at all. Yikes. I wish I wasn't at 17. I'm at 15 here. I wonder if I'm ever overflowing instead of Lucentbark next turn. He could still be a Highlander list, which makes Zephyrus a threat to my Lucentbark.
You have to read this one.
This looks like a pretty low pressure turn, which I do like to see. So I can probably Lucentbark here. He could still be Highlander, which is very scary. So this is probably pretty likely to be a freeze, but I think I still have to make this attack. Nice. I think if he doesn't have Zephyrus, I probably just win this game. Oh, I might just be dead to double skill command here. You can't send damage into minions at this point, can you? I mean, it doesn't matter because I have overflow, and I don't think he beats that anyway. But I don't think he's allowed to send damage into minions. Oh, I want to play Germination. Oh, I want to play Germination. It's probably greedy, though. I mean, I guess if I overflow, he can have Pressure Plate. I know he doesn't have the second skill command because he would have played it. What if I just Germination Hero Power? Then I'm not even dead to skill command. If I overflow, go to 12, it's Pressure Plate. I think if I overflowed into Pressure Plate, I could have died here. I'm pretty sure with this play, I'm only dead to Zephyrus, like ever. He's not a Zephyrus deck. He can't deal this 1 damage, can he? I don't think there's a card in his deck that does this 1 damage. I think attacking is just bad because there's almost always a freeze. Still doesn't have a Pressure Plate. So what could I possibly lose to?
Many contradictions.
I think the only considerations here are Mishafin and Hero Power. Mishafin does shuffle my deck. If I don't shuffle my deck, I can guarantee to draw a Healing Touch next turn.
Sands of time run low.
I don't know. I'm just gonna Hero Power. Life Weaver. So I do have to play an Overgrowth to play Healing Touch this turn. Which is fine. I probably want a Healing Touch this turn. I don't think anything I do at this point matters. I think the Healing Touch just ends the game, but I'll play a Mishafin, I guess. Speaker Gidra was kind of sick there, but I think it would be running into a freeze, so it doesn't really do much. Could have made a card with Life Weaver, but it doesn't seem important. Well, Kelt doesn't actually do anything because he's already played Dragonbane double skill command. You're gonna break your weapon here? Oh, he's gonna kill a Lucentbark. Fair enough. This gets frozen, it costs 5. So what if I just go like double Gidra Wrath here? That is a full clear.
So many.
I mean, I could also just like Germination and chill. But he's got Explosive. Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out the best way to murder him, but there's no way he can win this game.
Elise versus Illidan. This ends now.
Class is in session.
No overgrowths here. Now this is a set of cards. Let's not get the Lucentbark silenced, please. Double Overgrowth. So coin this on 3, I go up to 6. I can play Overgrowth, Wrath, and then Lucentbark. Pretty good. Overflow is actually pretty decent with this hand. I think I just take it. It's a good res for the Lucentbark, and it's reload when I'm playing 2 Overgrowths. Crystal Power's pretty good, I would say. It's easy to fit into a turn. It revives my Lucentbark, and assuming that he's a Soul Fragment Demon Hunter, my health is really valuable. Or I guess it's good against every Demon Hunter, right? They all try to murder you just in different ways. Now, Life Weaver we can toss. That card's not great.
You don't pick the ones.
That could be a Crystal Power target this turn. I think I'd still rather save the Crystal Power though, most likely. Germination's really good. So next turn I can, like, I assume he kills this, I revive it, copy it, and then play a Crystal Stag. That'd be a really strong turn. As long as he doesn't have Consume Magic. Which he could have gotten Consume Magic off this Wand Maker. That would be really fucking lame. But I think that's like a 1 in 6 maybe. Mana Burn also kind of fucks up what I want to do, but it's not too bad. Base. I don't actually have 10 mana this turn, right? So I have 8 mana. Wrath is okay, I guess. So I'm trading this off, reviving it and copying it. Wrath, I guess I just Wrath for 3. I have an overflow anyway for resources. I think it would be pretty difficult to lose from this position. At this point, if he picks up a Silence, I still have a second Lucentbark. He can have Cane, but I'm at 23, soon to be 28. I mean, he can just have, like, Marrow Slicer, Twin Slice, Blade Dance, and then have, like, another Blade Dance the following turn, and then a Cane. Maybe if he had that sequence, I could definitely lose this game. Oh, he didn't have Soul Fragments for a Shard Shatter Mystic this turn. I was expecting him to do that. Lightning Bloom. So the question is, do I want to play Overflow here? It is my last heal for the Lucentbarks, but I mean, I have to assume if I draw 5 cards, I'll hit another heal, right? I've got a Crystal Power, a Healing Touch,
So many
2 Groundskeepers. Those do need activators, but whatever. And then I've got another Overflow. So 5 revives, also nature studies sometimes. If I am, I don't know, I probably don't want the lightning bloom either way. Wild growth draws a card. I think I'm just gonna spend 7 mana overflowing here.
Sands of time run low.
I actually didn't hit a revive. That's so sad. Well, hopefully that wasn't a throw. I can double Crystal Stag to kill this thing if he awakens it. Is that what it is? Yeah, awaken.
Such a beautiful shield.
That's not a res. That's a res, but not a great one. I think I just stag here.
How
It's hard to die from 23, right? I mean, whatever. Just in case, I'll make this trade.
They're not trapped. They're my friends.
Such a beautiful shield.
Actually, that trade was kind of bad if I'm gonna overflow here. But I am not going to overflow here. So that trade was kind of sick, I gotta say. So I'm playing Groundskeeper for sure. 2 Lucentbarks is probably enough. I'll just take the 2 mana draw card.
a clear garden for a clear
I yield for now.
Nice. Alright. So I had a lot of fun playing Hellbach deck here. But I must admit that I lost more games than I won. So I would like to make some improvements. I will warn you though, that you might not like the improvements I'm about to make, which are mostly going to involve putting guardian animals in this deck. It is going to make the deck a little bit more bland, but it's also going to win more games. And also guardian animals is kind of nice to draw after playing Polkelt. So to play guardian animals, we need to cut at least 7 cards, probably 8. Currently we have Crystal Stag, which is actually a beast that's interfering with guardian animals. So I think we're going to cut that, and we're going to cut the Oasis Surgers. This deck was originally playing Embiggen, and the Stag and the Oasis Surger actually felt pretty good when the deck was still playing Embiggen, but after cutting that card, I think those need to go too. Maybe it was a mistake of me to cut Embiggen, but I think at this point, once we got to the animal build, I would have cut Embiggen anyway. So anyway, we need to cut some more cards. Honestly, probably Lifeweaver. It's kind of a bummer that we're cutting all of the healing synergy stuff. But Lucentbark is the most important healing synergy card. And I think Lifeweaver is just a little bit sketchy. Also sketchy, Rising Winds, Wrath, Mishvan. Any of those are cuttable. Rising Winds is probably my least favorite of those, but I do feel like I probably undervalue that card in general. We're gonna put in 2 guardian animals, 2 twilight runners, 2 teacher's pets, and 2 lake threshers, I think. I think it makes sense to go for the full package. We could maybe go like 1 teacher's pet, but I think this is quite reasonable. Also, another benefit of this is we have 2 more spells that activate Groundskeeper, which is not always an issue with this deck, but sometimes it does come up. Now, another card I want to include in this deck is Bog Beam. It's just a really good card with Overgrowth and Overflow, basically. And sometimes, even if you draw the Lucentbark, it's kind of hard to get it down without just being dead on board. I think Bog Beam can help us with that. So what do we cut for Bog Beam? This is a little bit difficult. I don't think we can really cut like any of this expensive stuff. Probably just have to end up cutting Wrath. In a lot of ways, Bog Beam is just a better Wrath. I did cut a lot of the card draw from this build, but we also added like more cards that are just good to draw into. And actually I added Twilight Runners, so I didn't really cut that much card draw. So yeah, I think this is definitely going to end up being a stronger build of the deck. If you don't want to include guardian animals, I totally understand. If you want a smaller change to the deck, then maybe you just cut the animal package, you throw back in the 2 stags, the 2 Oasis Surgers, probably the 2 Embiggens. I actually liked those with the copy minions. And then last 2 slots, I guess you can just put like Rising Winds back in.